Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel, DeFi Degens Drip for Poverty. And in this video, we're going to examine the question that's been asked multiple times and actually been answered on multiple other YouTube channels. Is drip a Ponzi? And I'm going to break it down in a couple different videos. This one specifically addressing the Ponzi, and in another video, we're going to talk about the MLM. So this actually comes from a AMA that Forex Shark did on the 28th on another YouTube channel. I'll link to the whole video. It's like an hour and some odd long, and they need another 3-hour one. So I wanted to actually just take the pieces out that you guys are looking for, and it's just a 5-minute audio. So you're gonna listen to this, then decide for yourself if you think it's a Ponzi or not. And I'm gonna come back at the end of this and discuss, kind of my take on it and see how I feel and what the sentiment is as well. So stay tuned, guys, and listen to this 5-minute clip from Forex Shark addressing that specific question of if or is drip a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Okay.
First question, and I know you probably get this pretty often, but this question came up almost 50 times, I think, through DMs, Twitter, and everything, and it's regarding drip and the sustainability of it. And really, I think this question stems from the teams and, the word teams being built around and an emphasis on a team being built. And so I think this question comes from that, and it's how is drip not a Ponzi? That's the biggest question that I've had.
Okay. Well, this is an easy one. I've answered this one plenty of times. So a Ponzi scheme is a type of fraud where typically a money manager, but it doesn't have to be a money manager. Sometimes it can be a business owner, or some sort of investment firm, will claim that they are creating profit through the sale of a product or service. The service can be money managing. It could be, the sale of some basic, some basic product. When in reality, either none of the profit or none of the capital is coming from the sale of a product or service, and often there's no profit being created at all. When in reality, he's just cycling money around in order to create an illusion of profit being generated, and trying to typically take capital either from large investors and funnel it to investors that are looking for shorter term profit, or just funneling old investors or new investors' capital to old investors. With drip, there is no product or service that's being used as a front to explain where the profits are generated. Right? The profits are generated through a model, essentially a tax model, that is recognizing the value of time and then distributing this profit margin that's created through the tax model through a dividend model. Now, there's several ways that you can create value and growth in a project, right? Especially specifically a crypto project. First, hype, and then utility and game theory, and then innovation and long-term use cases, right? So the initial starting capital that was generated for drip and any crypto project basically is going to come in the pre-sale phase and the early launch phase. And that's coming from hype and the expectations of future development, right? Then drip has very solid game theory. And if we want to talk to, sustainability, I can go through all of the mechanics in drip that allow it to have long-term growth and essentially turn that capital influx that came in through the hype into sustainable growth. And then you maintain that growth and really set yourself apart from the other projects in the field by creating use cases and innovation in the space. So just to answer the first part of your question, like put that right off the table, there is no element of fraud in drip. Your drip is an open source contract that makes it very clear where the dividend model is coming from. Dividend model is coming from taxes. So it's a tax that is applied on all transactions except for buys and adding liquidity, and with compounding, the tax is halved. So essentially, anytime you're doing a positive action in the system, there's either no tax or a greatly reduced tax. The tax is put on what we would call negative actions, or actions that are draining capital from the system. This is claiming, withdrawing, and selling. So it's a completely open source contract where anybody can see where the dividend model is coming from. There is no fraudulent claims of products or services that are generating profit. So, that's by definition is not a Ponzi.
So you heard it first, folks, right from the horse's mouth. Forex Shark said, by definition, it's not a Ponzi. He even gave the definition of what a Ponzi was, basically by alluding to profits and products or services that do not exist and only getting the dividends by bringing in new capital. And he said drip does not do that. Profits are generated through recognizing the value of time and creating a tax model that pays dividends. So this is where the contract itself comes in, and it's on the public blockchain, so it's immutable. It can't be changed. So if you are to do your own research and start looking into the contract and kind of understand the coding of the contract, then you'll see exactly how it's able to pay this out and where the money actually does come from. Now, I am going to be a little bit skeptical. I do think that mathematically it can't sustain itself at some stage. I believe, the wealth tax and all that help, but people will always try to find a way to milk the system, to cheat, to do something, right? So he built a really, really good platform and solid tokenomics and a contract and everything else. But I believe the more users that are onboarded into the space and the longer the old school users get into the space, meaning the larger their wallets get and the more these tokens increase in value and the more money that is in there, it's going to incentivize people to try to find ways around it. If the contract can't be broken or hacked, that's one thing, so that's great. It's been audited, I think by 2 different audit firms, but that doesn't mean that people will not try to find a way to milk the system and get more out of it that you are supposed to. So that, right now there's hard caps, and they're based on wallet addresses and all these things, but where there's a will, there's a way. So long story short, I believe this is definitely sustainable for the short to midterm future with 70,000 players, with a market cap a fraction of the size of what PancakeSwap is, and with a lot of people onboarding into the space. I definitely believe it has room to continue to grow, and it will be able to pay out getting in for the foreseeable future. But I do personally believe that in the mid to long term, let's just say 3 to 5 years, we will start to see some issues with it. I just don't see this being a way that the entire world could just all of a sudden pull themselves out of get passive income and out of poverty or whatnot. But for us getting in now, it's less than a year old, and I'd say even for the next 6 to 12 months, if you get in and the token stays around the same price, I think it's a good entry point for anyone to test the waters out, and the risk reward is definitely there. So long story short, by definition, it's not a Ponzi, and by tokenomics and the contract and the actual mathematical prowess and genius of Forex, there's 5 contracts that do all this stuff. So he addresses all of that, and you can look at it yourself in the contract. It's on the blockchain. So that's why I personally believe in it. And he even goes in further to talk about how the structures are paid out and how the taxes work and all that. So I'm bullish on it, definitely, but I'm still skeptical, as I said. So I wouldn't go put my whole life savings into this, but I would definitely look at some capital that you're looking to gamble with and get in and test this out, because it is game changing, and it's only going to get better. And I believe the solution he has in the long term to ensure that this project does sustain itself is by the types of innovating that he's doing, like with the animal farm. So he's creating new gamified platforms and partnering with other spaces so that he can continue to put tax money back into the drip faucet. So I think in that regard, him finding new use cases and onboarding new capital and taxing new platforms, then he can definitely sustain the project like that for a longer period of time. So I do believe he will find a way to make this work. Like I said, definitely in the short to long-term future. 10, 20 years, I have no idea. But I would highly suggest, again, not financial advice, you looking into it and doing your own research and deciding for yourself if you're willing to risk a couple $100s to gain financial freedom. So I think it's worth it. I put my money where my mouth is, and I think you should just check it out yourself and you decide as well. And if you do, please use our buddy address. I will be trying to get myself the BREAP tokens within the next 6 weeks. So if you join the team, there will be airdrops. That's why I created 5 wallets myself to test out these airdrops and see how it works and be able to donate that much more to the Cambodian Children's Fund. So again, I am putting my money where my mouth is and trying to make a difference, not only for myself, but for others. So if you're finding this video helpful and you want to support a cause, by all means, join our team right now. As of today, 12 February, we don't have any tokens being paid out, but I will be promoting this and trying to onboard some new people and explain how this platform works so that others will join as well. So thanks for popping in, and until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. Thanks, guys. See ya.